Welcome to SpiceCandies. Today I'll be discussing homemade candy molds for hard candies. While there are many hard candy molds available online and in shops that are made from ABC plastic, which is a hard type of plastic, and there are molds from silicone, I prefer not to use those for hard candies. Hard candies are poured at the temperature of 160 degrees Celsius to 150 degrees Celsius, which are 300 degrees Fahrenheit to 320 degrees Fahrenheit. These temperatures allow, in theory, chemicals to leach out from the plastic and silicone molds into the candy. I prefer, in this case, to use either stainless, which is preferred, or aluminum molds. When possible, stainless is to be the optimal choice material. These candy molds are made from a toner, a laser toner. Each laser toner has an aluminum tubing inside, and this is exactly it. This is a section, roughly quarter inch to half inch thick, or 10 millimeters to 12 millimeters, depending how thick and big you want the candy to be. And what you do is you just slice off, using a hacksaw, a section of the tubing, and you need to cut it, slit it, and allow some space for a stick. Talking about lollipop sticks, I prefer to use bamboo skewers. Bamboo skewers can be cut into sections, about 4 of those per skewer, with the tip cut off so nobody would get hurt, like this. I'm not sure if you can see it in focus. And then you just put it over there in the slot, and you're ready to go. The second candy mold I've made is a bit more complex. This is it. It has 2 screws. They're actually handles, and there's a small hole for the skewer. You could drill that with a simple drill bit, and it holds nicely onto the stick and goes over there. To make sure the stick is horizontal, we could just put another skewer under it. This way you can pour your candy onto the mold. With all these molds, one thing is essential, and it's oiling. You have to oil the mold from inside. Just a little dab of oil, non-flavored oil. Do not use flavored oil such as olive oil or sesame oil. Just use canola oil or sunflower oil. Do not use any oil that has its own flavor, because it will blend with the candy's flavor. While these molds are nice and easy to make, we have kids, and kids like molds in all shapes and sizes. So what we could do, we could use cookie cutters. For example, this set of butterfly molds. You could also use small molds, such as these. These are really tiny. And the tinier they get, it's going to be harder to pour the candy into it, but it's worth the effort. Kids really like those. And you could use any sort of mold you have. These molds are fairly cost effective. They're fairly cheap, easy, and abundant. And you have molds in all sort of sizes, shapes, and you could just buy those either online or offline and choose whatever shape and size you wish. These molds are a lot simpler to make than the round molds I've just shown you, because all you need to do is cut a small opening at the bottom for the skewer and use a parchment paper. Put your skewer on the parchment paper and the mold over it, and just like so, you're ready to pour. You do have to slit those again. They have to be slit. The reason for all these molds to be slit is very simple. Candy is a lot like cement. It grabs hold to any tiny scratch, microscopic or not, that there is in your mold. It will grab on and hold it really tight. So unless your mold is Teflon coated, you can't release it unless you flex the mold. So if you flex the mold, you can easily release the candy and then just reuse the mold, like so. Another thing about molds is if you want to choose a mold, make sure it's fairly simple and easy. For example, this butterfly mold is really lovely. Getting the oil into these fine creases is fairly complex. I use a Q-tip. The problem is getting the candy out of this mold because it's really complex, and I usually break the fine edges over there. So these two types of molds are fairly easy to make. You can make them fairly easily and cheaply at your home and reuse them anytime. Just make sure to wash them with warm soap and water. While these molds are fairly cheap and cost effective, you can make better molds or more complex molds if you wish, but this requires some milling capabilities. In the next clips I'll discuss how to use these molds and how to make them. I'll show you. I hope you enjoy this. Please subscribe, like, comment, try, and let me know how you did. If you can send pictures, I'd love to see those. And see you next time.